right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Sunday. Today we're going to be breaking down Tennessee's entire offensive line heading into fall camp. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start with our centers. Prototype size right here, 6'4", 308. That is exactly what the NFL average is for centers. Blue chip ratio is actually at 80%. Really, it should be at 100%, but we threw Gus Hill in here. He's a walk-on guy. You don't typically add on these walk-on guys with the blue chip ratio, but I've started doing it, so I'm just going to keep on doing it. But yeah, this room, very, very talented. Sam Pendleton, he could play guard, he could play center. That's why I've got him in blue right there. Average class is a sophomore. And I think that, man, Tennessee is going to have a really, really good center room. I'm actually very much looking forward to it. Let me show y'all what the pressure rates were from last season with our centers. Tennessee was at number 4 right here. Pressure rate was 2.3%. Typically, your centers, I mean, they're going to be getting help from the guards and maybe sometimes tackles. But either way, man, you don't need guys that are like super juggernauts playing at center. They just need to understand what the heck's going on. You have to be strong at the point of contact, but you're not typically going up against like the best pass rushers. So the pressure rate should be low. It is good though that, relatively speaking, Tennessee is top 5 with this category. Now let's talk about guards. Okay, this blue chip ratio here is at 66%. Average size is close to 6'5", 318 pounds. The NFL average is 6'4". I think it's 315, so we're a little bit bigger than that. Tennessee's offensive line is still big. It was even bigger than this last year, but we're getting a little bit smaller so that we can move around better, and we'll talk more about that. But average class here is also sophomore, just like center. But, man, Wendell Moy, Sam Pendleton would probably be our 2 starters. Shem Umarov could be one of the other starters. So Wendell Moy, he's definitely going to be starting at one of the guards. But, Pendleton, Shem, and also Jesse Perry, who I don't have up here. I really like Max Anderson. I think that all these guys very, very talented. I think we've got good depth here. Doesn't look like a ton of numbers, but like I said, we've got players that can do some different things. So let's take a look at the pressure rates from last year. We're top 5 here too, 6.5%, right at number 5. And yeah, I mean, I think that really, honestly speaking, y'all, with all of these pressure rates and stuff, it's probably going to go up. It's probably going to get better for us in 2025. That's exactly what you want, just because this team is. This offensive line is just more talented, so I'm looking forward to it. Now let's go on to the tackles, or actually, I'm sorry. Let me start here. Let's take a look at the guards from last season versus the guards that are coming in new. So Andre Carrick, his pressure rate was 2.2%. He gave up 2 sacks. Sprague's his pressure rate was at 3.3%. He also gave up 2 sacks. Wendell Moy, his pressure rate was at 2.2%, gave up 0 sacks. Now Wendell Moy, he had the most snaps out of all these offensive linemen. He's really good. I think he's going to be better than what we've had previously. He's probably going to be one of the best guards that Tennessee's had in a long time. Y'all are going to love Moy. And then, well, with Sam Pendleton, his pressure rate was at 3.1%. He also gave up 0 sacks, but he only had like 250-something pass blocking snaps. And as a point of reference, all these other players, they had over like 400. So almost half the sample size, but Sam Pendleton, he's going to be very, very good. I love his game. He's really solid. Couple of things that I noticed with our guards last season, they didn't necessarily move their feet as well, and just some like very small, like in the weeds types of things. But what I'm noticing is that these 2 guys, they do all of those things way better. So this was the staff did a great job of going out and finding some really good talent to add to Tennessee's guard room. Now let's talk about these tackles. All right, so blue chip ratio here is at 50%. Average size 6'7", 323. And for the NFL, it's 6'6", 317, so we're bigger here. But still, I think that like with that weight, Tennessee's really the average size here. We've cut a lot of weight. Like our average size last year would have probably been like 330, maybe over 330. So doing a good job of getting a little bit leaner and faster and being able to move better. I think that that's perfect. That's really that's what you need playing a tackle. You don't have to be huge. You just need to be able to move and be strong and things like that. So we have 2 5-stars that are going to be starting for us. That's got to make you feel good. Left tackle, Lance Hurd. Right tackle, David Sanders. And yeah, David Sanders, he's a freshman, but I think he's going to be fine. Watching him in that orange and white game, loved a lot of the things that he did. Jesse Perry, he might be that swing guy, but he could swing, anywhere. He could play center, guard, tackle, but I love him as a player. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen on this whole team. Bennett Warren, love him. Jeremiah's Hurd, he's got a great frame. How's he actually looking? Brian Grant, I think that he's solid if he has to come in. But let me show y'all what the pressure rates looked like for our tackles last year. So Tennessee's at number 8 right here, which Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that you want to be top five. Really, you want to be number one with everything, but it's not as bad as maybe some people thought. It's not absolutely horrible. I think that number is going to go way up. I have a feeling that after this year, we'll probably be top five once it's all said and done. And also, something else that I wanted to point to here real quick. Let's just go back to this room. Tennessee losing Larry Johnson and also losing Trevor Duncan. I think that those two losses it I'm not gonna say that it like really, really hurts us, but it's maybe a bigger deal than some people think. This room with those players, I think, maybe could have been the deepest in the whole country. We were super, super deep. I don't really care what the ratings say. Watching those guys play, they were looking great. And then having a veteran like Larry Johnson who could come in if David Sanders has some issues, that's a positive thing. Now, Sham Umarov could also play tackle. Tennessee actually got him to play tackle. So he could be a veteran that could come in here if that's what Tennessee feels like we absolutely need. But yes, it is kind of a young room. But saying all those things just to say that this room, I would call it. It's got to be like top 10 just as far as depth in the whole country. Now let me show y'all. Let me show y'all some of these other things here, just really, really quickly. This is going to be the yards before contact. So this is just talking about Tennessee's offensive line, with run blocking. Tennessee's at number 2 right here, right? So running backs are seeing 2.1 yards on average before they even get touched. That's huge. Now, most of that is from Tennessee's scheme. That's why, as a running back, why wouldn't you want to come play inside of this system? And also, some people might look at that and say, hey, that's kind of a negative thing, but really it's a very positive thing. What it tells me is it doesn't too much matter who Tennessee brings in on the offensive line. The running game is always going to be there. You don't really too much have to worry about it. Now, I also feel like it's probably going to be better just because the offensive line as a whole, I feel like, is more talented. So, maybe we're going to be up to maybe 2.5 yards, prior to reaching contact, or maybe 3 yards. I think that it could get up to something astronomical. Now, let me also show y'all this with the entire offensive line. This is just how we stack up with the pressure rates versus the rest of the SEC. So Tennessee's sitting at number 8. This was last year. So can it get better? I think 100%. I think Tennessee's going to be top 5 here as well. Again, just going back to the thought of, man, we're super, super talented. We've got some young players, but they're tremendous athletes. They're also very strong, very quick. Just everything that we're looking for. Some of the things in Tennessee's scheme change will help out with some of this as well. Now, let me show y'all who my top 5 offensive linemen are on the whole team. It's going to be these guys here in no real order. But if we could somehow find a way just to get these 5 guys out there, that would be our, most talented lineup. My question is, is it going to be beneficial to have David Sanders as a true freshman at right tackle with redshirt freshman, if it's Jesse Perry, playing next to him? I don't know. That's a very young side of your offensive line, but Jesse Perry, he's really good. I think that he's up to that task, which is why I've said previously that maybe you let Sat start at center if he's ready, and then maybe Sam Pendleton starting at right guard could give you like the overall best line from that standpoint. Maybe not the most talented overall starting 5, but I think that it would end up playing the best in like game situations. All right, so let's come on in here, y'all, and let's take a look at some of these clips, and I'm gonna talk some more about this offensive line. So, like we said, average class is at a sophomore, so we've got a lot of youth, but we've got a couple of veterans kind of sprinkled here and there. We got a lot of new players. The only guy that's coming back that has really played a lot for us is going to be Lance Hurd. He's lost 10, 15 pounds. He's in much better shape. He's healthier. And I think that he's going to play like a 5-star. I think he's going to play like a first-round draft pick. We need him doing that. I absolutely love David Sanders on that right side too, just because, I mean, look at his technique. Look at his form. Right here, y'all, he's probably only like 285. I think that whenever the season starts, he's going to at least be 300, maybe 305, maybe even a little bit bigger. Watching him in that orange and white game, seeing him blocking just all those studs up front with perfect technique, I think that he's going to be better than some people think. Yes, he's going to have some, he's going to miss some things, right? I mean, that's just going to happen. He's going up against, guys that are going to be playing NFL ball in the next few months. But, he's going to play very, very well. I think that it's going to be a net positive for our tackles next season. I think that room probably takes the biggest jump for us, and that's maybe where we had the most issues at. So that's a super positive thing. Guards, a lot of depth there. Okay, love those guys. We can mix and match. Center, a lot of options there too. And then going back to those tackles, I think that the Bennett Warrens, the Jesse Perrys, and some of those other guys, Hurd. I think that we're going to be fine just from a depth standpoint. If players have to come in, they're going to have to earn their stripes throughout fall camp. I want to know that we can trust these players. The coaches want to know that same thing. But overall, we're going to be perfectly fine. Now, there will be some more wrinkles that Tennessee adds to our system, right? Just with how Tennessee typically runs the football. It's typically inside zone, which just means that we're running the football right up the middle. Tennessee does mostly that. We'll still do mostly that, but versus some of these teams like Georgia, Florida, Oklahoma, like some of these teams that have played some tight mint fronts, which just means that they're playing 3-3-5. Everyone knows about that 3-3-5. But the way that they line their linemen up, it makes it difficult to run the football right at them. You have to try to run some outside stuff. So Tennessee will implement some outside zone, some stretch plays with that pistol. It just works easier doing it that way. Well, it's going to be a lot more like pro style looking run blocking. Saying all these things just to say that we needed to get some offensive linemen, especially guards that were quicker, that were faster. And I think that Wendell Moy and Pendleton really fast. Wendell Moy, I think he was clocked last season at Arizona, like 340 pounds at, was it like 18 miles per hour, something like that? 18, maybe 19. It was something crazy. And Sam Pendleton was like in that same ballpark. So these guys can move. Pendleton's lost some weight. He's going to be even faster. He's still going to be strong. I'm sorry, not Pendleton, but Moy. Moy's lost some weight, so he's going to be even faster. And I think maybe even stronger. He's going to be in much, much better shape. So all of those things, while Tennessee won't probably utilize that too much, we're at maybe 2% with outside zones last season. I think that this year that could bump up to somewhere around 5%, right? So just more outside running. I think that that's going to be super, super beneficial for us. And also with some of the like pass blocking schemes, I think that it's going to be a lot more quick stuff. 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. Joey Aguilar, he does a great job with that. I think that he thrives with that 3-step drop stuff. So, and then you know what, Merck does a good job with it too. All of our guys, they're going to be just fine operating that way versus what we saw last season, where we had to hold on to the football longer because we tried to throw it deep, which it takes more time, but also because the field, everyone was playing deep. So we didn't really have any options. We had to try to make some things happen. This year, we're going to get much better pictures. The ball comes out quickly. And all that means is it's going to help out our offensive line even more. So I'm super excited about this unit. It all starts up front. And I think that Tennessee's offense will take a big, big step forward based off of the talent and based off of some of the scheme changes that Tennessee's going to be implementing in 2025. But those are my thoughts. Please share yours with me down in the comment section. And as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be talking to y'all tomorrow. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.